Welcome to Network and Service Assurance with digital twin capabilities of HPE Aruba Networking Central and UXI. I'm Reginald Henson. I am with the HPE Networking Customer Success Team, and I'll be your host for today's session. I work closely with customers across the US, helping drive strategic engagement and measurable outcomes. Today, we're diving into the future of self-driving networking with UXI and HPE Aruba Networking Central. We'll cover the new UXI Wi-Fi sensor, updated agents, enhanced dashboards, and UXI service assurance with digital twin capabilities. I'm joined today by Mandar, Senior Product Manager for HPE Aruba Networking Central, and Divya, Product Manager for HPE Aruba Networking Central, who will walk us through the latest innovations and show the enhanced dashboards and updated agents in action. We'll be answering questions throughout the webinar, and we'll leave time for your questions at the end. So drop them in the Q&A. With that, let's get started. Over to you, Mandar.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for a quick introduction. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone, from wherever you are joining. I have UXI and Central PLM team with me as well as a panelist. So feel free to ask question. Don't hold back. And I'm super excited because I think we had our last session last year with Central and UXI, and this is like a new session with like new features and the capabilities of UXI, right? So we want to bring in the best of both worlds together for you guys so that you can get the future or get to see the future of networking, right? Or the self-driving networking. So with that, before, we just get started, I just want to set up like a quick background check so that we can cater our, presentation quickly. So I think we can just release the poll to best describe like what is the reason behind you guys are joining this call so that, we can quickly see the results and we can, see like how the momentum is. So I can now see the poll on my side as well, which actually best describes your reason for joining today. Is it just Wi-Fi 7 capabilities for future or looking for upgrade for Wi-Fi 7, performance or evaluating, just like evaluating solutions for high density IoT deployments, or you just quickly learning, about a new platform like new UXI and Central. Okay, and just maybe wait for a couple of minutes. I see the answers are already flowing in, and majority of voting towards the fourth one, which is learning about UX and Central management tools, which is really, really great because we are going to cover in-depth demo for both the platforms so that you guys can get to see it in the action. All right, I think we have our polls. So let's get started with the agenda first. All right, as I said, we are going to cover, of course, the new capabilities of both the platforms, but we'll start with, setting up the problem statement, like why we are actually doing this session. Then we'll look at how Central and UXI can achieve the unified service and network assurance, and then how UXI is acting as a digital twin into, customer environments and helping customers in order to solve their day-to-day use cases or, improving the user experience. And then finally, the mostly asked question, like, where is that one button, right? How can I make my network self-driving? How can I push the config, or how can I make sure that the user experience is as good as possible before the user impact happens? And then we are going to cover all these use cases in the live demo way. Of course, not in a feature-centric way, but we are going to cover in a customer use case basis so that, we can get gist of everything that we have, going through. All right, but before we get started, I just want to show you guys one quick video of this. This is a person having a really bad Zoom or Teams call, right? And we get to see this problem in a day-to-day life, right? Like right now also we are on a Teams call, and network is actually a problem, and people are, getting blamed because, hey, your network is suck, right? You can't get into just one video or Zoom call without having a good network experience, right? So people normally blame the network. and we are in a journey to prove the network innocent. I know, many of guys have, seen this, but right now the devices or the network devices are up are not just a good or not just a quick SLA. The user experience is the new SLA for this, right? So IT leaders are often asked to basically troubleshoot this, but they have challenges as well, right? Because first is the digital transformation, which is no longer operational for them, right? Whether it's a hybrid network or cloud migration, IT teams should be more agile and reliable than ever, right? And they often ask to troubleshoot this in a quick turnaround time. And then there is a domain fragmentation because you have complexity of connected devices, and then those devices are serving your users and having the application experience. And application nowadays are exploding with the AI, right? And we are talking about the thousands of endpoints per location and the diverse applications, right? And it's shifting our demands as well. So here is a mind-blowing stat. The number of active connected devices is expected to grow over 34.2 billion in 2026. And managing all these moving pieces will be so difficult for IT teams, right? And the third, and I think it's mostly getting addressed nowadays with more and more knowledge articles and videos that we have, but it's a skill gap, right? Because IT teams are often asked to do more with the less, right? And the talent pool is not keeping the pace, right? So we have been getting automation and AI on each platforms, and they are nice to have, but they are not helping our IT teams to get into the troubleshooting mode and to the root cause and to fix the problem. And finally, the security, right? Because as we have more and more entry points in our network, more users or more data in motion, the attack is surfacing, is keep on growing and growing, right? Which is estimated, like to companies for almost like $10 trillion in 2026. So IT leaders are in tremendous pressure to protect everything and everywhere all the time. Easy, right? But it's not that easy when it comes to a deployment of this particular network infrastructure. But we are in a journey to solve this issue with Central and UXI. So how Central and UXI can offer network and service assurance is two ways, right? We have Central, which is actively monitoring your network, and then we have UXI, which is mimicking like a user and monitoring network and applications which are actually flowing across the AP switch and gateway that you have deployed using Central. So be it a home network, so let's say if you have a user at home or remote branch offices or campus offices, or maybe they're sitting in a cafeteria and accessing, internet, you guys are often asked to troubleshoot those users' problem with less resources. So with UXI, with UXI agent or a net, we have a sensor as well. It can do 24 by 7 network and application monitoring in particularly three ways. First, it can give you end-to-end path monitoring using the path analysis that we have. You can do all the application testing, and you can get like a hop by hop analysis. Then, in terms of self-driving network, we have Central with Copilot, where you can provide any queries and it can help you with the troubleshooting next steps. We have agentic mesh as well, which can auto determine the problem in your network and give you the next steps. And finally, we have to close this loop, right? Because we have to get into that self-driving mode and not just the self-driving ready. So with Central, we have insights where you can actually get into that proactive mode and you can get notified before the user impact happens. And you can get into that, closing that loop whenever users are having an issue in your ecosystem. So I know many of you guys are already aware about how UXI sensor work, but for those of you are not aware, we have UXI sensors and agents, which is like a software client which can sit on Mac OS and Windows. It can mimic like a user. It will first connect to your network, be it wireless or wired, and then finally it connects to your application testing, and it will give you all the application telemetry and the experience on your network on UXI dashboard. And not just a UXI dashboard, we have a central integration as well, wherein if you have a central dashboard for your network management, you can get application experience help on a central dashboard as well. But the real question that I really want to answer is how UXI can help me building a proactive network monitoring, right? Because I have a hardware sensor deployed across my campus and branch sites, and I want to know the problems before the user impact happens. So let's say if there's a Facebook outage happening and I want to know if my users are getting impacted because of that, then UXI will be acting as a digital twin, aka virtual network engineer, which can monitor your network and application user experience 24 by 7. It will not take any holidays. It will not stop. It will be 24 by 7 active network and application testing in a round robin fashion. It can connect to a wireless network or a wired network from any platforms, be it Aruba, non Aruba, Juniper, non Juniper, you name it, right? It can install near your users because you can deploy the UXI sensors in a strategic way where I remember one of my healthcare customers saying that, hey, I have patients coming on one particular location to check in. Then can I have that UXI sensor sitting there to enhance the user experience so that the users are not getting impacted because they have a healthcare app to book an appointment for the healthcare check-ins. And we can install it near that user check-ins or cafeterias or where if you have highly condensed area from user perspective. And with the path analysis, we have end-to-end proactive network path monitoring. You can go hop by hop in a troubleshooting mode and determine the root cause of the problem. And not just a sensor, we have a software agent as well for Windows and Mac OS. And we have a self-service portal for end user where any network user, be it technical or non-technical, can get all the details about their network, let's say Wi-Fi, MAC address and DNS server name, server IP, and all these details, which non-technical users might not be aware how to get into that information. And it's the only sensor in the market which have a cellular backhaul, meaning if you have a power outage happening or any catastrophic event due to any power cut happening on your sites, we have a supercapacitor on a UXI sensor which can phone home as a last message. It will send the UXI dashboard a notification about power outage using the cellular SIM card in it. And it will notify that, hey, I have no wireless, no wired, even no power as well. And there is a power outage happening on one of my location. Can you, please see if there is any, power backup or, any UPS there or something like that. And this is the power of, UXI and of course our central as well. But why UXI is so unique in digital experience monitoring? Because we have so many competitors in this section. I would say I will leave it with this slide because we have agent as well as agentless platforms, meaning we have sensors as well as agents. And I think most of the vendors in the market just have an agent or just have a sensor, and they don't do justice. But we feel that there are different use cases for customers, which can give you a best of both the platforms, and you can pick and choose which platform to be deployed in your network. Then the second thing is we have a network management platform integration, which is our very own Aruba central integration, where you don't have to switch dashboards back and forth between the central and the UXI, but you will get it into the exact same, telemetry, or you can get the telemetry from UXI to that, central without switching the dashboard. And then our very famous feature, which is path analysis, which can give you a complete path observability using our sensors to any application without any limitations that you have on your network. So it always starts your network, right? Because it is a core foundation for designing and deploying a modern and secure networking fabric. So our vision is simple. We believe we can deliver the best user experience to any user and an IT team using a self-driving network. But before you get too concerned about, oh, what's that self-driving network means? I would tell you that companies like Robotaxi and Waymo has a driverless cars with supervised and unsupervised self-driving. And even a lot of flights nowadays have autopilot, right? Which can actually land you guys to any airport if there is a bad weather condition or something like that. So self-driving is actually real. It's just that we are taking into action into a networking domain as well. So it's not just we, developed a self-driving with AI, in 2026, right? HP is leading this journey since 2021. I think I can give you my story. Like when I started in Aruba in 2021, in UXI as a TME, I know we developed something about AI ops incident detection. It's still there in UXI, and people were skeptical about AI, right? They were not getting used to of like or trustworthy for that particular feature because it's based on the AI ML algorithm that's running in our background and giving you like a impact analysis, like if the outage is happening on one specific network or on one specific groups of sensors that you have or on sites, and they were not getting adopted to that feature because they were not trusting that feature. So for me personally, my AI journey started when I am part of UXI. And then Aruba with, AI insights for Classic Central. If you are familiar with, we had a AI insights root cause and recommendation in our Classic Central as well. But now, last year in 2025, during our Discover, which is our conference, we have released something called as Agentic AI Copilot, which is a toolbox for agentic mesh, which can actually deliver a self-driving network. What I mean by that is we have a best-in-class data science teams, which actually build this feature, which can deliver you not just a conversational assistance, but it can act as a companion for most of the IT teams, can help you deliver a network and application troubleshooting for your day-to-day use cases. And if you don't believe me, this is just a quick snapshot, right? Because as it relates to a campus and branch enterprise network, we have 20 years talked about this in a holy grail of networking. We have all the customers from all the verticals, and they are using our not just central, but UXI as well as a single pane of glass view with full stack wired wireless SD-WAN. And oh yeah, we do have user experience monitoring, which is our UXI as well. Um, but if you don't think that if we are not doing this, this is just one quick snapshot of this. Like we have this four pillars embedded into our platforms and which can deliver a full self-driving network. So why UX and Central are invincible, right? One, of course, it's the cloud native dashboards that we have, but these are like quick snapshots, right? Because we have Central, which is you can get it in the VPC. If you have a cloud, you can use it in the cloud like UXI. We have Central on-prem as well. So we cater to a different class, of configurations as well. So let's say if you have day zero and day one with like one config model, it simplifies all the provisioning of AP switch and gateway with the central. And then once you get into that, day two operations where you can go to troubleshooting, monitoring, and reporting, you will have this one view into a central. And then once you start onboarding your users, you can get a user experience, which is a digital experience monitoring using a UXI as well as a combined monitoring with AP switch and gateway. And you can get it in the same platform because we have integration with the central, right? You don't have to switch back and forth between the two dashboards because it's a part of the same ecosystem of Aruba with the same Green Lake workspace, right? And then finally, it has a rich partner ecosystem. We have a API first model which can plug and play all the integrations with ITSMs, because I remember some customers do not consume this on a central dashboard or on a UXI dashboard. They have a third party tool where they can consume all this network and user experience telemetry on a one single platform. And finally, before I jump into the demo, last year in July 2025, Gartner released this magic quadrant for wired and wireless LAN. And we are, if you see on top right hand side, we are the 19 times leaders for wired and wireless. And it's not just about wired and wireless monitoring. It's about 20 years of network domain expertise as well. We have 3 billion plus endpoints. We have 180K plus customers for Central. We have again, UXI customers as well, which is correlating it to that. And if you don't believe us, this is what Gartner is saying for that. But now let's take a shift to that and let's switch gear to like how UXI and Central deliver a best user experience full with full self-driving, right? Because so the question I really want to answer in today's call is our North Star, which is of course the self-driving networking. And more specifically in this call, we are going to look at how Central and UXI can deliver this particular, I would say, challenge for us, but not in a product centric way. We want to do a demo in more like a customer centric way and how our customers are saying this, right? And what are their pain points. So we actually surveyed, in front of our customers, like what are their hardest to solve problem and what are the most challenges that they see into their network, like how do I set up networks, or how do I troubleshoot core network or core application problems, or how do I solve client associations, and how do I move it to a completely self-driving from being like a self-driving ready. And of course all this will actually converge into a one particular platform, which is a central as well as UXI, right? So let's take a first example of, like, I have a user which is experiencing issues on Wi-Fi 7, and they're playing like a AR and VR video games, like a cloud gaming. And how will I troubleshoot this, right? Because they're getting like a lag in their, video gaming experience. So let's troubleshoot this with UX and Central, right? So before I jump into that, let me quickly walk you through, how our UXI dashboard looks like for those of you who are not aware. So this is how our UXI dashboard look like. We have four verticals. We have experience with all the sensors and agents deployed across your sites. You can build like an hierarchy. Then we have a network experience where I can get wired and wireless experience. Then we have internal and external just for application experience, right? So go back. If I'm going back to my use case where customers are complaining or users are complaining, like, hey, my AR and VR video gaming is not having a good day right now, and I'm getting a very lag performance into cloud gaming. We have this 6C sensor before that Wi-Fi 7 sensor, where I can get active connection on one single radio. So at one particular point in time, if my users are complaining to me, I can see the band at which that sensor is, so that I can mimic if that user is connected to that video gaming on 5 gigahertz band with which signal strength. I can expand this to see the signal to noise SNR. I can get receive bitrate and all the, of course, frame rate, write rate, channel utilization, if there is any utilization in that. And if I expand this, I will get all the nitty gritty details about this. So this was a Wi-Fi 6C view, right? Before we launch Wi-Fi 7 sensor. But now the users are connecting to not only just 2.4 and 5, but they're connecting using MLO based feature, which is a multi-link operation on both the bands at the same time. So how will I troubleshoot with this sensor? Because this sensor can attach to just one band at a time, right? So we now have something called as UXI Wi-Fi 7 sensor, which is our new sensor that we have released. And if you can see that, the only difference here is in earlier sensor, it was not saying anything at the top. Now I can see the active connection of that sensor. I can see that this particular sensor on Monday, February 9 at midnight, it was connected on 5 gigahertz. And at the exact same time, I can see my alternate connection on 6 gigahertz band. So if my users, like let's say I have a users of Samsung, and let's say I think in Google Pixel as well, we have MLO feature, and they're complaining like, hey, I'm getting really bad experience while, playing my video games. I can actually mimic them like the users are playing video games and attaching on 2.4 and 5 or 5 and 6 at the exact same time. As you can see here, it's connected on 6 gigahertz as well as 5 gigahertz at the exact same time. And I can get all the details about it. I can see the RSSI value, signal to noise ratio, transmit bitrate, receive bitrate, channel utilization on the same time when it was connected, what's the AP name and the BSS ID as well. Of course, my AP name is, like I'm getting like a MAC address. I'm not get like doing my justice to the AP name. It's just a demo network. Sorry about that. But I'm getting all the nitty gritty details at the exact same time. What's my active connection and what's my alternate connection? And in alternate connection as well, when it was connected to the different band, when it was not actively tested by that particular application, I will get all the details about SNR, noise, channel, as well as BSSID. So I, as an end user, can now troubleshoot both the bands Wi-Fi at the exact same time. And this is not just one example, right? So now let's say I want to see, and this is not just one user, right? Now if I go back and I want to see how my Wi-Fi is performing on all the bands. So earlier we used to have just one band performance with all the connection details or Wi-Fi metrics. But now the difference that you can see here is I can now see Wi-Fi metrics across my sites that I have been deployed, and I can see it on 2.4 band, 5 band, and 6 gigahertz band at the same time. And I can filter for a specific SSID or a specific group where I have Wi-Fi 7 sensors deployed. And just FYI, you will able to see this particular change when you have Wi-Fi 7 sensor. And of course, you don't have to have Wi-Fi 7 APs in order to have that. If you have Wi-Fi 7 APs, that's really good. But even if you don't have Wi-Fi 7 APs, Wi-Fi 7 sensor will still work for your 6C and the previous technologies as well. But yeah, this is another example or another change that we did where you can see how the 6 gigahertz band Wi-Fi metrics are looking like for last 24 hours. You can go back in time and you can actually perform and actually dig deeper into the this particular thing and troubleshoot a specific site or a specific SSID having issue with MLO as well. Now the question is, how will I put on this MLO on my APs if I have Central and if I have Wi-Fi 7, right? APs deployed. It's simple, right? So with New Central, or now New Central is Central because we have been GA'd since last year. In config, we have something called as WLAN profile. And in WLAN profile, you can either, edit the profile and, make sure that profile of SSID will get updated, or you can create a new profile for your Wi-Fi 7. And in miscellaneous, in advanced, we have this feature um, enablement option where you can have this multi-link operation. You have to have this knob or checkbox turned on for your APs. And of course, you want to have all three radios on in order to work this feature. And then you can connect your users as well as our Wi-Fi 7 sensors as well to that particular SSID. All right, so this was all about how you can get into the Holy Grail. But now, remember those times when you have to send technician on site with a spectrum analyzer? Not anymore, because we now not only have connected SSID Wi-Fi metrics, but we have something called as AP scan. So whenever you put on any sensor on your network, it has a AP scan as first, step into a test cycle where it will scan the RF environment, which is, surrounding to that, and it will give you the visualization of your Wi-Fi network. So I can see how my 2.4 gigahertz channels are they overlapping with each other or not? Then the 5 gigahertz channels, of course, you see less overlap here because we have many channels. And now with 6 gigahertz, we have added this as well. With 6C sensors, you will get additional columns as well, like available admission capacity as well as BSS color. And you can actually filter for a specific SSID and see that if there is any overlapping SSIDs in that. You can do a channel mapping or a channel planning using this particular chart, or you can actually hover over a specific info bubble and you would get a vendor name as well. So let's say if I have this Aruba AP here, I will see that because I remember one of my customer telling me that they have lab APs which is interfering with the exact same SSID name with their production APs, and they could not even figure it out without the UXI sensor. They actually figured it out looking at this vendor, saying that it was actually because the lab AP was having a different vendor than the Aruba. They could able to figure this out using this particular feature, and we will get all the details as well, and you can minimize this. You can not only see it for current time frame, but you can change the time frame. Like if I go back to like last 30 days in my network, I can actually see how my RF environment looks like for that specific, RF environment as well. You can change this as well. All right. So this was all about Wi-Fi 7 wireless use case where people or users are complaining about it. So just to give a quick recap, right? What we have seen is, of course, users were complaining that they were having slowness. And how did we figure it out is we first saw that with UXI dashboard, we get like complete visibility of wireless tri-band experience. It may be Aruba or it may not be Aruba. You will get the Wi-Fi because we are vendor agnostic. You will get multi-vendor Wi-Fi 7 visibility. Then we saw that with simultaneous transmission like MLO features, we have active connection Wi-Fi metrics as well as at the exact same time we get the alternate connection as well, so that we can compare the results like how the same AP with the same SSID but with the different bands, how they are performing compared to each other, right? And if they are capable enough to handle MLO clients in your network, you can actually do this as a day one testing before you actually have MLO enabled for your, across your sites. Then, as I said, it's a sensor, right? So if you want to make any changes on a weekend, you can do it and you can test it out before, Monday morning, or you can keep it running as 24 by 7 tester. It can act as a, non-stop virtual network engineer who will not take any holidays and will give you a baselining, and it will give you a baselining in such a way that you can actually make your actions better. Like, for example, I will get to know how my DNS is look like, or how my Wi-Fi RSSI looks like for last 30 days, and I can make decisions based on that. And then finally, with Wi-Fi environment, I get a complete 360-degree view of my RF environment. All right, so this was all about wireless use case. Now, for the next one, I will hand it off to Divya, who is my colleague, who will be taking you over for the next two use case. Over to you,
Okay.
Divya.
Perfect. Thanks, Mandar. Hey, everyone. Let me quickly share my screen. For the demo. But essentially within this use case, what Mandar actually showed, like, hey, there are ways to essentially see if the network is performing as expected. But even when the network is performing as expected, we will always see users complaining, saying like, hey, my application is not working as expected. My video is frozen. I'm not able to get onto the calls. So what we'll see right now is how Central and UXI together can help you troubleshoot the application performance itself. Okay, so here I am in Central, in new MIA site, and within the application planet itself. So once you actually land here, you can see all the applications that we see being used in the network itself. And then you have the application health and then the UXI status. So application health is essentially telling your network side of story, how network sees the application itself, whereas the UXI status is coming from the UXI sensor and UXI agents. So it is really telling you how users are experiencing the same application. When you click on the application, here itself, you can see the latency as reported by the network. So you can see client to gateway latency and then client to application latency itself to see if it is happening before the request reaches out of your network, or is it like, the issue with the application itself. Once I click on the application and I want to see like, okay, what's the performance? The information is actually available up to last 30 days. So I can go back in time and see how my application was performing in last 24 hours or last 7 days itself. Let me go to the health metrics. So for example, you have a problem and users are not able to get onto the application, or they're not able to, or they're experiencing issues with the application itself. You can come here and, for example, I want to see like how the experience was for last 7 days. I can choose the time. I can go into the network and see the telemetry, but I can come here where that's where you'll see the UXI data flowing in. So I can see what's the latency, loss, jitter, HTTP get elapsed time. Depending on the application, you will also see the VoIP MOS score if we are talking about Teams and Zooms of the world. Then you also have the network telemetry where you can see the application latency, which is again broken down by the to the gateway as well. So you can really see where the problem lies. Now, for example, the user is actually experiencing the problem and you want to see, oh, I see these spikes happening and there is like high latency. So I want to know further, like, why is that the case? This is where the UXI path analysis comes into picture. I've seen on Central that essentially there are certain spikes. I can come here and choose the application of interest from the destination. Once I have chosen the application, I would see the paths from the sensor and now, in fact, from the agent as well to the actual destination. So I can see, okay, this is happening and this is my latency. I can go and back in time and compare like how the paths were changing before and after the issue itself. We just not only give you the round trip times, but we also collect the metadata for each of the node if it's available. So you can see the DSCP marking, what the AS name and number is, what's the location of the node as well. This helps you to figure out if, for example, the route has changed on the ISP side, you will be able to figure out what it was before and after. So it really helps you to see where exactly the problem lies, whether it's on the network side or it's actually outside of the network and outside of your purview, and take the decision accordingly rather than doing the finger pointing. This was all like, hey, I know there is an issue happening, and how do I go about troubleshooting it? Now comes what we have in Central, which is the prediction of the experience. This is where we are seeing the telemetry on your network, and essentially like looking at how the application would perform. So once you come here, actually, I should start from inside itself. This is where you will see the application experience insight. So once you go here, you can see all the sites where this is being generated. You can see the total client experience minutes, and then you can see the division between the good client experience and the bad client experience. So for example, I see, oh my God, there's a huge bad client experience happening at DFW site. Let me look further on why it is happening on that site. So it gives you information for last 24 hours or last 7 days. So you can actually see the information pattern, or like the experience pattern itself. So essentially, when you come here, you can see what are the good client experience versus bad client experience for that site. Right now, I have all selected, but if I want, I can get into a particular AP and see what the experience looks like when the users are connected to that particular AP itself. Below this, you will see the information around the contribution. So like, where are these bad experience coming from? Is it like the RSSI that is causing the major issues, or the retry rate? Is it the radio band? So you can really figure out where the problem is and where the poor experience is coming from, and where you need to focus your energy and improve it. So essentially, what we saw now is with UXI and Central, you not only can essentially uh, see like where the problem lies, but you can also see and see the prediction of the experience for the application itself. So we went through the application list where we saw the how the user performance or user experience is, as comparing the network and the UXI status. Then we saw how we can troubleshoot further with path analysis. And then last but not the least, we got into the prediction of the experience for an application for the user on your network itself. Now, this was all about the application performance validation. But we all know that hybrid work is real. There are users working outside of your network that are not coming into the offices and working. In fact, right now I'm working remotely. So how do you ensure that users are getting the experience that they need, even when they are not within the network that is managed by you. This is where our newest agents can actually help you with the newest feature that we have. If you go to UXI dashboard under networks, you will start seeing unmanaged network. This essentially means that it is something that is not managed by you. And enabling it is as simple as going off. So if you go here and you turn it off, that's where it is turned off. You can basically turn it on and it will start monitoring the unmanaged networks as well. Now, if you're saying like, hey, I don't want to do it for every user on my network, I only want to do for a particular user, that is also something you can do. You can come here and choose and say, like, hey, I only want to like monitor it for JP right now, and then apply. So you can actually go down to the per agent level. Now, when we were designing it, we kept the security at forefront. So if there are security concerns about, hey, I cannot like capture the SSID where the user is, or I cannot do the Wi-Fi environment scanning that Manda was showing a little while back, you can enable or disable those depending on your needs. So I can anonymize the SSID, I can turn off the Wi-Fi environment scanning, I can also turn off the packet capture that agents do while they identify any issue. So you really have all the knobs and that you can work with and ensure that it meets your needs. Once you have actually enabled it, that's where you will start seeing the information coming from the user device itself, even though if they are on a network that's not managed by you. So as you can see, this is my device right now, and it's showing me how the network is performing. And this is an unmanaged network. That means that it is not defined in the dashboard, and agent is automatically getting this data for you. You can see signal strength, what's the signal noise, transmit bitrate, all the good information regarding the Wi-Fi. We do have the Wi-Fi scanning here because I have enabled it, so you can really see how the network look like, where the user is. And as you can see, my home network has a lot of overlapping channels. This really helps you to eliminate it's a home network problem or not. It's not about fixing the home network or the network where the user is, but it is about confidently eliminating that it is not the case and we need to look somewhere else. Having said that, you can run the internal and external application test on the unmanaged network as well. And if you have them turned on and if we identify any issue, you can, oops, let me stop sharing for a sec and start sharing again. Okay, I think it should work now. Yep. Okay, getting back here. Essentially, if we have identified any issue on the unmanaged network as well, we will tell you like, hey, there is an HTTP timeout expected by the user or experienced by the user on the unmanaged network. This is exactly what we have tested. We've tested that network looks fine, the gateway is reachable. We were able to do the DNS lookup, but when we were trying to reach the application itself, that's where the problem lies. So it helps you eliminate that, hey, there is no issue with the user network. It's basically something happening on the application side, and that's where you need to like spend your energy itself. So this is how we will essentially like troubleshoot a network or like user problems, even when they are not within your network itself. So what we saw is like essentially you can easily troubleshoot the unmanaged network or get visibility into the unmanaged network before the traffic reaches the enterprise itself. We get the information around the network and the application experience as seen by the user itself. You also have the option to do packet capture if that's not a security concern for you, but essentially you get the root cause analysis as well. And then you can confidently rule out the home network problems by looking at all of this information together, along with path analysis. As I was mentioning, the path analysis is supported both on the agents and sensors. Okay, now the next, on to the next thing. We talked about self-driving networks and how it can essentially help you out. So getting on to the self-driving journey, what we have in Central are essentially two things. One is alerts, which is more reactive, where a problem is happening and you're helping the user out and figuring out the issues. But we also have insights. These are all the proactive insights available for you to optimize your network performance. So we have different insights, and I'm going to touch base on a few of them. This is a power save recommendation. It gives you recommendation on per site basis. So it really can tell you like, hey, you have 9 devices, 70 clients on new MIA site. And you can essentially, put some of the APs into power save mode. They will essentially go into deep sleep. We give you the weekend and the weekday schedule separately based on how we see the user activity in your network. So we see that user activity, we look at what could be what are the patterns of that user activity, and then figure out like, okay, these are the times where you can put the APs into deep sleep mode. Now, when we are giving you that, hey, you can put the APs into deep sleep mode, we look at two things. One is the constant coverage. So essentially, like which are the APs that needs to be always available so that they can serve the clients in your network, and which ones can be your on-demand coverage. So as the name suggests, on demand, they are in deep sleep mode, but they will come out essentially if they see the clients in the network. So it's not like dumb essentially saying like, hey, if you have put it into sleep mode, it won't come out. It will see the user activity and it will come out. We do the predictions around like how many hours you can power save hours you can achieve, what that translates into the expected annual power savings. So if sustainability is a big thing, this can really like help you out. The next thing I want to actually touch upon is the other optimizations that we have. So for example, coverage hole is really a big issue, and it's a real issue. That is another insight that we have within Aruba Central, which can proactively help to solve problems. So in this case, I have Indianapolis IND branch site, which is being identified having a coverage hole problem. You can see the impacted APs, how many clients are impacted, and then what it really translates to when it comes to the impact on the user minutes itself. You can see that we give you recommendation, and we also tell you like what is the exact problem or the root cause for this coverage hole. So in this case, there are two APs impacted, AP01 and AP04. They are having low uplink SNR in one case, and the other one is the low downlink SNR or 5 GHz radio. The recommendation is also adjusted to the root cause that we see. So it's not just like, hey, basically add more APs. That can be one of the recommendation if that's the solution. But we will tell you like you can increase the transmit power for the AP group, which AP group that translates to, and then what the power transmit power should be and what it is currently. So it is really analyzing your network. It is network aware, and it is taking everything into consideration to come up with the root cause and then the recommendation itself. I will just touch upon like one more insight, which is the AP Health insight. And then we will get into the self-driving bus. So essentially, when it comes to the AP Health Insight, we have two kinds of problem that we are identifying currently, which is one is 2.4 gigahertz radio stuck problem, and then the other one is country code mismatch. For this demo, I will touch upon the 2.4 gigahertz problems itself. So I have this Bangalore Luru campus site, which is having 2.4 gigahertz radio problem. So let's get into the details on like what's happening and what can be done. Now, this is a self-driving insight. So if you essentially want, you can turn this knob on and Central will automatically take care of it whenever it identifies the issue happening. And it will try to recover the radio automatically. In this case, we can see that, okay, this is AP03 Bangalore on the Bangalore side, and it's impacted. We can see that, okay, 2.4 gigahertz band is what we are talking about, and it translates to 675 AP minutes. We do not see any client sessions happening during the time when we have identified any issue. And as you can see from the graph itself, there is very high channel utilization, which is 99%. There are then essentially like there are no client sessions going through them. And there, if we have identified other 2.4 gigahertz radio outside, they seem okay. So essentially it is comparing like, okay, how the other radios are performing, what is happening with this particular AP itself, what's the channel utilization, and if there is any client impact or not. So it's not blindly just seeing the channel utilization and saying like, let me reset it. It's looking like what's if we do that, what's the impact on the clients as well. So this like really helps you to resolve the problem, like just enable it and forget about it, and Aruba Central will take care of the issue whenever it happens. Now, this was all about our insights where we are proactively analyzing the data and essentially like telling you what are the problems happening or like how you can optimize the network itself. Now, we have something called agentic AI and Copilot. So let's see what the Copilot can offer. This is where like you're not talking about dashboards. You are coming here and you are essentially seeing and talking to your network. So I have this prompt that I ran before. So I'm going to just like run it again here. So let's see that I am here, and then I just want to know like, okay, how are my wireless clients are performing inside Miami? So as you can see, I just came here and just want to like see what's happening with my wireless client. Maybe, I know that there is an issue happening inside Miami and I want to troubleshoot further. So essentially, Copilot will go and look at the site which we are talking about, look at the wireless clients and how the performance looks like, and then come up with like a quick summary, a detailed breakdown, and like the alerts that are happening, which are related to the wireless clients itself. So as you can see, I have not gone to anywhere in the dashboard, but I was easily able to like tell you like in a fraction of like some seconds that there is a problem happening on our network itself. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to just like quickly speed up and show you the agentic mesh actions. So we know that there is like a roaming issue happening on our Bangalore site. And this is where our agentic autonomous orchestrator have identified the issue proactively. It has identified that there are like clients impacted. This is the AP we are talking about. What's the failure rate? It identified the root cause and gave the remediation essentially to create separate WLAN because there are legacy clients which do not support 11R. There are charts that can tell you like, okay, most of the clients are impacted during FT roam and most of those failures are directly correlated to the PMK key failure itself. It's also doing the client analysis and giving you that, but ultimately this is where the information is like, hey, do you want me to do it on your behalf right now? schedule it at a later date or a maintenance window, you can just like click apply from here, and Copilot will take care of everything behind the scene when it comes to the config itself. So quickly, like summarizing, for Central Copilot, we have agentic AI, we have specialized tools. You can ask the question through the network Copilot. That's what I did. But there we have autonomous orchestrator as well, which is looking at the problems on your network and coming up with recommendations, and can also apply those recommendations and make the config changes itself. So in essence, we saw the proactive insights, we saw the co-pilot, and then essentially we also saw autonomous orchestrator looking at your network completely. So I know the last bit was very, very fast. So we are open for Q&A if there is any time. But yeah, back to you. Josh Mandar, is there anything like we can answer online? Do we have time?
Yeah, we can take one question. So I think most people are asking the Copilot that you have showcased, right? Is it available for all? And if yes, is it available on which type of subscription
So
from Central?
Copilot is advanced subscription. You at least need 90% of your devices as advanced subscription to have access to Copilot. And then when it comes to the availability, in essence, you need to have at least admin or operator role to get access to Copilot. If you only have view only rights, that's where you won't have access to Copilot. But that's essentially the licensing and the RBAC needs for Copilot. We also have, if you want to try it out, feel free to like reach out to your account teams. We do provide free eval for 90 days. They can help you to get that eval.
Yeah, we can hand it back to
Brittany?
Reginald.
Okay. Yep.
No,
Sorry.
Reginald.
Oh,
Yeah, just to close it off.
okay, perfect. Back to you.
Great presentation today, guys. Thank you so much. And thank you all for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate your engagement and hope you found this session valuable. An email will be sent to you with the webinar recording and any relevant resources referenced during the presentation. If you have additional questions or would like to continue the conversation, your HP Aruba networking team will be happy to follow up. Thanks again for your time today, and we hope you have a great rest of your day and week.
Thank you, everyone.